What's up everyone, Thralls here once again. I'm the Croc Nick, and I have an album review for you. This one comes to us courtesy of our friends at Screaming Toilet. It's been a minute since we got something from them, but of course shipping stuff here and, well, anywhere is kind of a problem right now just because, well, it's the holidays and everything's backed up, and of course our old friend COVID loves to just screw up every single thing ever. But if you haven't checked out Screaming Toilet, it's a fun site full of all sorts of pop culture reviews on movies, TV shows, games, music, all sorts of cool stuff. Definitely check it out. There will be a link below in the description. So today I am reviewing Grid's debut album, Livsleda. This came out on the 11th of September. Took a little while to get here. Now this is originally an independent release, but it was picked up by Self-Made God, I believe, around September. And this band formed in 2014 in Umeå, Sweden. I think I said that right. Either way, I know that's the same town that Meshuggah's from. And this is their debut full length. They have 3 other EPs, and this band is grind as fuck. 3-piece grindcore, nasty, raw as hell. Opening track is only 47 seconds. In fact, this entire album, all 9 tracks, constitute just less than 18 minutes. So this is going to be kind of a quick review, just because there's really not much material to really talk about. But if you love grind, namely bands that sound like Rotten Sound and Nosum, this is very much sort of a rekindling of that spirit. The production is raw and gritty. The guitar tone really screams Nosum and Rotten Sound. It has a bit of that HM2 sound and tons of just nasty punk energy throughout this. Blast beats are flying. It is nastier than hell, but there were some cool surprises that were a little bit outside of the grind box in here. The song's Starving for Purpose, and forgive me, I have to read this one because it is in Swedish. I runera av var en summit. I think I said that right or spelled that wrong. I don't know. Either way, that's the name of the song. Both of these songs bring in big killer breakdowns. Most of the time this album is flying, whether it's like a sort of thrashy hardcore gallop or a flat out just blast beat the entire time, which the drumming on here is extraordinarily tight. But these bring in some cool groovy breakdowns towards the end of the songs. And you know, both these songs are pretty damn short. Most of this album is pretty damn short. But I like the fact that they pretty much just open up full steam ahead. Blast beats are a go, but they still bring in these big groovy breakdowns or just groovy pockets. And it's nice to actually hear some riffs that are kind of slowed down a little bit chuggier instead of just the barn burner delivery that these guys give throughout almost this entire album. Another thing these guys do that is a little bit outside of the grind box, not entirely, but melody. There are actually some really catchy melodies in here, and grindcore is not a subgenre you really associate heavy doses of melody. But I think they sort of tap into their more crust punk roots that are kind of peppered in there and bring in some really catchy melodies. The last song, Doomed, and the song Disinformation Equals Facts both have distinctly catchy, very punk melodies. I would almost say a little bit poppy here and there. This is a grindcore band covering Bad Religion for a second, but it really draws you in, and I was really surprised. Actually, I was super surprised to hear such a catchy, tuneful melody. It has these cool ascending riffs that are just fiercely melodic. And it's kind of cool how they mix that in between the more straight up grindcore style, and then all of a sudden you have these flat out catchy melodies. The biggest surprise in here was definitely the title track. The title track is a lot slower than everything else. In fact, it's almost more of sort of a post-metal moody piece. Starts off with very ambient guitars, kind of a thumping bass line. The drums sound pushed back in the mix at first, and then it slowly starts building while there's a sample of someone speaking. I'm not entirely sure what he's saying. It's in English, but it's kind of muffled. But it's this whole building of tension, and I know the subject matter has to be dark because it's grindcore. It's never super happy, or rarely ever very happy. But how it turns into this big kind of post-metal, post-something, There are parts in there that even kind of remind me of melodies you would hear on a Deftones album. And that's so far removed from grind, I was really surprised. But this is just an interesting, moody piece. It's a longer track for them, or for grindcore in general almost. But I really like the change of pace. The melodies were different. The mood shifts dramatically. This is a very like sullen, depressive song. It's just kind of dark. Whereas the rest of it just screams anger, frustration, just violence. And then how it just abruptly shifts to the next track after that, Exile, which is just a flat out barn burner, and it flat out crushes. There are even moments of like kind of death metal in there because they do alternate vocalists. I believe it's the bassist and guitarist. One has a distinctly lower voice, the other one has a more harsh scream, and I like the interplay between the two, and occasionally when they get together to form one giant bark scream, whatever you want to call it, it has a lot of power behind it, and it just absolutely fits with this nasty album. Another interesting thing about the more melodic tracks that I brought up is they are primarily instrumental. There are vocals on it, but it's generally at the beginning, and then the instrumentals sort of just take over. And I want to say towards the end of Disinformation Equals Facts, there are no more vocals after a certain point. It just absolutely stops, and it just kind of carries on the melody. But this is solid grindcore. I am a huge grindcore nut. I've been listening to Nauseam since Inhale Exhale. So when I actually checked out a track by these guys before, ordering them through Screaming Toilet, I was excited to hear the rest of this. And it did not let me down one bit. This is flat out awesome grindcore. I kind of wish it was a little bit longer. But overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. If you're a fan of Rotten Sound or Nauseam, this is a must pick up. The fact that they're from Sweden is also pretty damn cool. But it is raw, in-your-face grindcore. It really doesn't relent, but at the same time, it delivers some like unexpected melodies and kind of a nice little escape from the grindcore sound in just one song, but it picks right back up. And honestly, the break from it doesn't really detract from the album very much at all. Because either way, you're still getting a dark, heavy, angry, caustic album. And those are all things that should describe grindcore, at least in my opinion. So this is definitely worth picking up. I strongly recommend checking it out. So if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We will catch you later.